10 of the best dividend stocks in the Kenyan stock market that I think you should know about for the month of September. Hello there, welcome to this channel, the best place for you to learn and share about all things money. And specifically, in this video, we'll be looking at one such way of making your money work for you through investing in stocks, dividend stocks to be precise, whereby you get to earn passive income. Well, if you're new to the channel, karibu sana, and subscribe if you have not. Without further ado, let's get started on today's video. I'll section this video in 3 parts. Part 1, I'll define a few terms that I think you as a new investor in the stock market, you should know about. Number 2, we'll look at the stocks, dividend stocks, whose book closure is this month. And number 3, we'll look at other stocks, dividend stocks, whose payment date is this month. Remember, they're 10, and I'll give you a bonus at the end of this video, so stick around. All right, okay, let's get started. Section 1, let's define a few terms, such as when we say dividend stocks, what are we talking about? Well, a dividend stock is simply a company that is listed in the stock market that usually shares part of its profits with you, the investor. As simple as that. A dividend stock is simply a company that shares part of its profit with you, the investor. And this can be in 2 ways, whereby one, you can get cash. For example, for all of the companies that I'll be listing will be sharing part of these profits through cash. The second way can be through additional stocks. For example, we saw Kenyan Insurance announce a bonus issue of 1:1 on 30th May, and we saw the investors of Kenyan Insurance get additional shares. So it can be in 2 ways, through cash or additional shares, right? The second term that I'd like to define is what is a book closure. In layman's language, book closure is simply the date by which you are supposed to own those shares, after which you won't get the dividends. So the book closure date is the date at which you are supposed to own the shares. By that date, you're supposed to be an owner of those shares. All right, the third term is the payment date, and as the word is as simple as the word, payment date is the date at which you will receive either the cash or additional shares. All right, okay, and that's it. That wrapped up the first section of this video. Let's move on to the second section. If you have any questions about dividend stocks, specifically in the Kenyan stock market, feel free to leave a question down below, right? Okay, I'll be happy to answer it. Yeah. Enough of that. Let's go on to the second section of this video, which is dividend stocks whose book closure is this month. And starting us off is none other than Absa Bank. Yes, this is a stock that is listed in the banking sector. And to make this more relatable, I'll be adding, if you own 100,000 shares of these companies, how much should you be expecting? All right, okay, so number 1, Absa, who issued an interim dividend of 0.2 shillings per share. And the book closure date will be on 20th September this year. Payment date will be on 15th October. If you own 100,000 shares of APSA, how much should you expect? Well, you should expect around 20,000. Yes, you've had that right. Number two, the second company on our list today is none other than BOC Gases, which issued an interim dividend of 2.50 shillings per share. The book closure date is also on 20th September, while the payment date is on 14th October this year. If you own 100,000 shares of BOC, you should expect around 250,000 Kenya shillings. All right. The third company on our list today is also a company in the banking sector, and this company is none other than NCBA, which issued an interim dividend of 2.25 shillings per share. The book closure date is on 11th September this year, and the payment date will be on 25th September this year. If you own 100,000 shares of NCBA, how much should you expect? You should expect around 225,000. Yes, you've had that right. Number four, we have none other than KCB, which is also in the banking sector. Now, KCB issued an interim dividend of 1.5 shillings per share. Now, KCB's book closure date is on 12th September this year, and the payment date will be on 30th October this year as well. Now, if you own 100,000 shares of KCB, how much should you expect? Well, you should expect around 150,000 Kenya shillings before withholding tax. Now, number five is Standard Chartered Bank, which is also in the banking sector, and Standard Chartered issued an interim dividend of 8 shillings per share. Standard Chartered book closure, it will be on 18th September this year, and the payment date will be on 8th, not 9th, 8th October this year. Now, if you own 100,000 shares of Standard Chartered Bank, how much should you expect? Well, you should expect around 800,000 Kenya shillings in passive income by being a shareholder. Now, if you would like to learn how you can become a dividend stock shareholder, enroll for the dividend stock market course. The link will be attached in the description box below. Now, number six, we have none other than EABL, which issued a final dividend. Yeah, you might note a switch. We were talking about interim dividend, now we are talking about final dividend. All these terminologies will be explained in the dividend stock market course, so feel free to enroll or share with someone who would benefit from knowing what these terms are. So back to EABL, which issued a final dividend of 6 shillings per share. The book closure date will be on 16th September this year. The payment date will be on 16th October of this year. Number 7, we have none other than Stanbic. Now, Stanbic Holdings issued an interim dividend of 1.84 shillings per share. Did I mention how much you will be getting if you own EAB shares EABL shares by the book closure date, well, you will get 600,000 if you own EABL by the book closure date. Now back to Stanbic Holdings, which issued an interim dividend of 1.84 shillings, whose book closure will be on 2nd September, and the payment date will be on 27th September this year as well. Now, if you own 100,000 shares of Stanbic Holdings by the book closure date, you will get 184,000 Kenyan shillings on the payment date. Now, number 8, we have none other than BAT, which issued an interim dividend of 5 shillings per share. The book closure date was on 30th August, and the payment date will be on 27th September of this year. Now, if you own 100,000 shares of BAT, you can expect 500,000 in passive income on date 27. Now, on to our last 2 shares, which are both in the agricultural sector. Number 9, we have Kapchurwa Tea, which issued a final dividend of 15 shillings. Or the book closure date was on 31st July, and the payment date will be on 2nd September this year. Now, if you own 100,000 shares of Kapchurwa, you can expect around 1.5 million Kenya shillings in passive income. Before we go to our last company on this list, I would like to ask you if you would like to see a video on the companies' dividend stocks that have the highest dividend yield for this year. Comment the word yield in the comment section, and I'll create one. Yes, that is if you comment so. And also to see how many people have reached this far. So comment the word yield, and I'll create a video as a follow-up to this. Our last company on this list is none other than Williamson Tea, which issued a final dividend of 15 shillings as well, and the book closure date was on 31st July, and the payment date will be on 2nd September. Now, if you own 100,000 shares of Williamson Tea, you can expect around 1.5 million on the payment date. Now, that is it for this week's video. Feel free to subscribe and comment the word yield so that I can know that you have reached this far. Until next time, make sure you watch any of these videos that YouTube thinks you will enjoy. Alright? Okay. Bye now.